Wrestling fans, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble!
And now, please welcome at this time your hosts, Graham GSM Matthews and RJ Marceau. You're listening to the next era of wrestling radio. This is WrestleRant Radio.
We are live here on a Thursday morning for October 9th, 2025. Just mere days out from WWE Crown Jewel and the event that as of yesterday, we're going to be in attendance for coming up on Sunday night as well. We'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. But Mr. Marceau, I mentioned this to you just a couple days ago, or actually last week here on the show. Dynamite had their 6-year anniversary edition of Dynamite. AEW did last Wednesday. Yesterday specifically, was the exact anniversary, but this is the 12-year anniversary edition of WrestleRant Radio, brother. What's going on?
I'm doing good. 12 years. It just every time you bring it up, it just makes me feel a little bit older.
Hey, as it does me, my friend, as it does me. But that being said, though, 12 years, a lot of shows, a lot of memories, done a lot in those last 12 years. We'll celebrate this upcoming Sunday at TNA Bound for Glory in Lowell, Mass. Excuse me, I'm dying here. We're only a mere minutes into the show here. We're going to be in Lowell, Mass again, as we were for, for NXT Heatwave a couple of months ago. I'm good. I have to make it to Sunday. I can't die before we get to the show on Sunday night. TNA Bound for Glory officially. I haven't gotten the tickets yet. I'll probably do it today. Surely it won't sell out, but I'll probably get them today and I'll let you know. But we're going to be going to TNA Bound for Glory this upcoming Sunday. I'll look at the card in just a second, but this will be your first TNA show. I've been to a few of them. I was actually at a TNA Impact taping in New York about 2 years ago, but I've never been to a TNA pay-per-view. And my many years of wrestling fandom, you've never been to a TNA show, and it's going to be in Lowell, where I've been to Ring of Honor shows. We've been to NXT there, been to a lot of indie shows there as well. You can add TNA to that list at the Tonga Center coming up on Sunday. So what are your expectations for this show coming up on Sunday night from TNA that we saw a little bit of on Tuesday as part of NXT Showdown?
Yeah, no, looking at the card, I mean, there's a decent cross between TNA and WWE, NXT specifically. So overall, I think it should be a pretty fun show. So we'll fire it up, honestly.
Yeah, no, look into the card coming up for this weekend for those unfamiliar. As you probably saw on NXT Showdown on Tuesday night, it's going to be Trick Williams and Mike Santana for the TNA World Championship. Santana trying to take the title back to TNA. They're going to be doing one final table match. That's what they're calling it. A tables match for the TNA and NXT tag team titles. Both sets of tag team titles are on the line between the Hardys and Team 3D. Should be a spectacle if nothing else. I'll say that much right there. They're doing a hardcore war match between the System and Order 4. Kalani Jordan defending the TNA Knockouts World Championship against Indy Hartwell, the #1 contender. Frankie Kazarian and Steve Macklin for the TNA International Championship. That's a rematch from their match this past weekend at Victory Road from last week. Tessa Blanchard will be in action against Gia Miller, their lead interviewer backstage. The usual call your shot gauntlet battle royal where the winner receives a trophy and a contract for a title match at any time of their choosing over the next year. The Inspiration and the Elegance brand, a rematch of the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team titles. And the match I'm most looking forward to, Leon Slater and Javon Evans for the TNA X Division Championship, which should be an awesome matchup. So that being said, first of all, of those matches, Mr. Marceau, which one are you most looking forward to? And I also want to kind of get your thoughts on TNA's involvement with NXT Showdown this past Tuesday and what you saw of that show and what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, looking at the card quickly, like you said, I think Slater and Evans, I think that's going to probably be the best match of the night. A lot of high spots, I assume, and a lot of bounciness. So overall, I think that'll probably be the best overall match of the night. But like you said, there's the nostalgia with the Hardy Boys and Team 3D one last time. I mean, that'll be pretty good and some other good matches there. Honestly, I thought Tuesday night, I was paying attention most of the time. I thought it overall was a solid night. Mm-hmm. You kind of mentioned in the women's match, there were a decent amount of botches. I must not have been paying attention. I did miss a couple of the pinning sequences, so I'm assuming that's probably where it happened. But all in all, I thought it was a solid show overall. I thought Paige and Mustafa Ali was great.
Yeah.
The main event was good. I was stunned that TNA won, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
Especially with Santana. I think it was Santana and Moose was left there.
Yeah, it was Moose and Santana were the last two survivors, yeah.
And they pinned Ricky Stark, so I was pretty surprised there. But overall, I thought solid show. And, yeah, I mean, we kind of discussed last week. It's kind of funny. It was like TNA versus NXT, but a lot of the people were ex-TNA or ex-NXT or WWE people. But
in the women's match,
I thought it was pretty well.
Yeah, no, when we were talking about that, I thought about that this morning. Everyone on the women's team, Kalani Jordan, as we know, is the Knockouts champion. She is a current NXT superstar, so it's ridiculous that
WWE contracted superstar.
Yeah, completely ridiculous. But they had the former Jakara Jackson on that team, the Inspiration, formerly the Iconics, who actually came out to their WWE theme during the women's match, actually, when they came out for the match. Mustafa Ali came out to his WWE theme initially before they changed it to the TNA theme, which was obviously intentional. It wasn't a botch. But I thought that was cool. But if you look at the men's match, it was the exact opposite. Representing TNA on Tuesday, you mentioned Santana and Moose. Also on that team, they had Leon Slater, the current X Division champion, and they had Frankie Kazarian, the current international champion. None of those guys, I mean, Kazarian is the only ex-WWE talent on that team, but even then, he was in WWE for a fucking cup of coffee 20 years ago. I have always associated him with TNA, even Ring of Honor, whatever. But Moose has never been in WWE. Slater's new. He's fucking 21 years old. Not even. I think he might be 20. He's in, he's TNA through and through, as well as, Steve Macklin, Moose, Santana. He's also never been in WWE either. So the exact opposite. They had a lot of TNA influence on that match on Tuesday. I'm glad they won. Like you said, I thought was the right outcome. I was pleasantly surprised by that, and I'm looking forward to Bound for Glory this coming weekend. I thought it kind of left me looking forward to that pay-per-view on Sunday night. But like I said, we got another pay-per-view coming up this weekend. WWE Crown Jewel, bright and early at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. I'll definitely be watching it well after the fact, but it should be a good show. They actually got me more excited for the show than I thought with Monday's Raw. I thought Monday's Raw, I did not watch it live. I watched it after the fact. I thought that was a great show. We won't go through the whole show here, but was there anything really that stood out from what you saw on Monday? I thought like we got an Io Kairi Sane match, which I thought was really good as well. The stuff with Punk, Jay, Knight, and all the bloodline turmoil. We had the announcement of Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed in an Australian street fight coming up on Saturday, which we'll get to in our predictions in a little while. But I thought Raw did a great job of kind of setting the stage for what we're going to see on Saturday.
No, I thought overall it was a solid show. Like you said, they started off with the bloodline stuff, kind of had that going throughout the show. So there's something to kind of keep your attention to the main event with the Usos versus Punk and Knight. Becky and Maxine Dupree. I mean,
I forgot about that. Yeah,
match that. Ever had.
Yep.
Beat Becky Lynch by count out. So that's a win in Maxine's book. And like you said, that Io and Kyrie was great. Was Rhea just already in Australia, just nowhere to be found? I felt like that was kind of weird, but like you said, overall a really solid show leading into Saturday.
Yeah. So I think they had said before the Io Kyrie match, I think they did make it official, or Adam Pearce did officially say at one point that she was in Australia already doing media for Crown Jewel. So, like, she was legitimately in Australia. So that's why she didn't come out and make the save for Io Sky. I mean, it would have been fucking stupid if she was legit in Australia and they only brought her back to the States to do like a 30-second run-in and then fly her right back to Australia. So I'm glad that wasn't the case, but we'll get to that match, the potential for a betrayal in that match. I've heard a lot of talk about that, actually, more than I thought I would. I'm shaking my head as well. I'll get your thoughts on that when we get to the Crown Jewel predictions a little bit later on. A few things I do want to mention first before we kind of really get going here with some of the things we're going to discuss on today's show, including Santos Escobar leaving WWE, but then immediately re-signing, and what happened there. We'll share our thoughts on that in a little bit. New episodes of WrestleRant Radio every single Thursday on WrestleRant.com, WrestleRantRadio.com, all major podcast platforms, and obviously the video version right here on the YouTube channel. So check that out every single Thursday when we go live on Thursday mornings, Thursday afternoons. Shout out to the channel members Alexis, Miss Maud Matthews, Dylan, the Giacomo, Mrs. Renee, DJ Swerve1 at Swerve1 on IG, Daniel Malcolm at I'm Quarter on X, Mr. Marceau himself at RJ_Marceau on X as well. John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland right here on YouTube. Richie, Red Planet Wrestling here on YouTube as well, and Average Grunt, last but not least, at gruntwrestling.bluesky.social on Blue Sky. More information on that down below in the description box, but at the very least, be sure to like this video, subscribe. All the support is greatly appreciated, and be sure to turn on notifications to find out first when we're live, whenever that might be, here on Thursdays to talk all the latest in the world of wrestling here on WrestleRant Radio. I did see Daniel Malcolm a little bit earlier on sending this in before we went live, talking about Santos. Millennial Noob also joining us a little bit earlier on, saying, good morning, Graham and RJ. How you doing today? We're doing well. Thanks for asking, Noob. Always great to see you in the chat. But like I said, Mr. Marceau, the big topic this week, of all people, you would never guess, Santos Escobar, of all people, who has not been on television in months. We double-checked it before we went live here. The last match that he wrestled on SmackDown was back on May 2nd, 2025. That's over 5 months ago. I lost to Rey Fenix. Now, he has since been on Worlds Collide, not the most recent one, but the one in June. Even that would have been over 4 months ago. I think it was a tag team win alongside the rest of Legado. Legado has been on the show. You asked me that earlier as well. Have they been on the show? They were on SmackDown last week, and I thought it was very odd that they were on the show without him. Now, Elektra Lopez obviously got fired earlier this year, so it's been down to the three of them for the better part of the year. They have not really done anything with Santos Escobar and WWE on television since the feud with Rey Mysterio, and that's going back a year and a half. They were feuding going into WrestleMania. We thought they were going to have a one-on-one singles match, but they also wanted to get Andrade in the card. He just came back to the company. Looked how well that worked out. But they wanted to get Andrade in the card, Dominic Mysterio as well. It turned into a tag team match. It was a good tag team match. Rey and Andrade beat Dominic and Santos. I forgot exactly who was a part of it until I just said that. And that was it. And then Santos really wasn't on television after that. He may have been in the Rumble this past year, maybe. But beyond that, he has not been on a pay-per-view since, to my knowledge. He may have been in Money in the Bank last year, but even then, I don't even think he qualified for that. So he's been doing a whole lot of nothing. He's a very talented individual, a former NXT Cruiserweight champion. He had some success in NXT. Excuse me. Most notably, he had a lot of success in AAA, and as we all know him to be, he also spent some time in TNA, but as we all know him to be, King Cuerno in Lucha Underground once upon a time from about a decade ago. He comes on over to WWE, does well enough in NXT, finally gets the call up exactly 3 years ago from this past Tuesday to SmackDown at the show that you were at, actually, where was that in Mass? It wasn't in Springfield, was it?
It was in Worcester.
Worcester, at the DCU Center, was that what it was?
Yeah. It was the DCU Center. They debuted on SmackDown.
I forgot you were there. Yep, at the DCU Center, the season premiere of SmackDown, as they called it. That was a great show, too. I was very pissed that you could go and I could not make it that night. But they debuted on SmackDown finally that night. I was very happy. Exactly 3 years to the day, this Tuesday, his contract expires. Rumors are running rampant on Monday. They're not renewing. And as of Tuesday night, he was officially a free agent. Now, I'm going to have a little bit of the same conversation I was going to have anyway, but there has since been an update, as I put in the headline for this video. As of yesterday, PW Insider reported they've actually, which I was not expecting at all, because it was reported originally why he left and did not renew with WWE was because he wanted more creative assurances and he wasn't being used. It wasn't a money thing. They actually offered him more money than he was making previously, and he still said no. And I don't blame him for saying no, because again, the guy's been on TV in fucking months. And even before that, even when he was on TV, it wasn't really as if they were doing anything of note with the guy, so I don't blame him at all. And he's talented enough, even still at 41, he's not 50. But I mean, I'm not saying AEW necessarily. We'll get to what he probably would have been doing in AEW in a moment. But I mean, AEW, they could have utilized them in the Ring of Honor department of that company, which doesn't really mean anything, but at least they're on television. TNA probably not, because they work with WWE, but I could have seen him in MLW or New Japan, whatever. And then by Wednesday afternoon, literally less than 24 hours ago from when we're speaking right now, PW Insider reports he has come to terms on a new deal with the company. Again, this does not happen very often. I remember this happened with Drew Gulak a few years ago, where they moved him literally to the alumni section on the website, both of these guys. And then he's back with the company, and as of now, he probably is on the SmackDown roster page on WWE.com. So he was legit gone, and now he's returned for reportedly way more money, but it's not even just a money thing. I think they worked through whatever his dissatisfaction was creatively. I don't know what promises were made. I don't know if this is going to make him a bigger star or if it turned into a Gallows and Anderson situation where when they weren't happy 5-6 years ago, they offered them a fucking stupid amount of money to stay. They didn't really do a whole lot more that time around. This would have been in like 2019, 2020. They offered him maybe not $1 million, but collectively, I think it was. And then they ended up getting fucking fired anyway because this company doesn't have.
That was Vince. That was Vince. That's different.
I guess. But then
and then Triple H brought him back to do the same thing, and then he got
no, Triple H. Well, like you said, so it was a Vince thing at that point. But then Triple H, because he felt bad about them getting fired at that point, brought them back in 2022 to again not really do much at all. Probably for a pretty hefty paycheck to do absolutely nothing of note in the next 2 or 3 years before they got fired again earlier this year. So I said a lot there on the Santos Escobar situation. We'll really break this down here, but I just want to get your instant reaction. He's gone. He's back. What do you think happened here?
Yeah, I mean, it's different, I guess, like you said. I mean, I thought he was hurt, honestly, for a while. Like, he wasn't on TV. He was, like, with Legato, but he wasn't wrestling. I'm like, that's weird. Maybe he's hurt. I just don't know. But then it just kind of, like, you didn't see any reports or anything that he was hurt. And just seemingly he was kind of just like their manager. And then, like you said, he hasn't wrestled in months. I saw him on the first Worlds Collide. Haven't seen him since. Then I saw, like, he posted, like, a thing. It was, like, pretty much basically saying he was leaving.
Yeah.
Which, okay, that makes sense. And then I saw the report yesterday that he re-signed. I'm like, that doesn't really make much sense, but okay. So I don't know if he went to Tony and Tony told him he was going to be the 15th member of the Don Callis family, and he said no thank you. But, yeah, I mean, clearly came back, and it's shocking, to say the least.
Well, I do want to make this clear. I think Escobar is great. I've been a fan of his work dating back to Lucha. I became an even bigger fan of his work in NXT when he unmasked, and I'm thinking, man, this guy's got a good look, and, like, he can speak great English, too. Like, this is not an Andrade situation. Like, when he was in NXT, we even talked about it at the time. Check the archives. It's here on the show from years ago. And I'll get to this conversation a little bit later on, but WWE, I feel like for the last, 10 fucking 15 years, this company's been looking for their next big Latin star, like their next Hispanic breakout talent. And there's been so many people on that list that did not work out for whatever reason. And Escobar, I felt like fit that mold. And I thought, he's a great worker. And he's also an even better talker, because the bigger issue with some of those other names I'll get to later on, specifically Andrade, who is awesome, definitely a better worker than Santos, is that he just can't really speak English. And now they did have Zelina Vega with him, and that didn't really, they didn't put them back together. That's a whole other conversation. But then they get him on the main roster, and the issue is, in today's wrestling, in WWE and AEW, there's just so many stars. There's a lot of Hispanic talent, too. In WWE right now, I mean, Andrade is gone, but for the females, like they have, Stephanie, among other people. But we now have Rey Fenix in WWE. We have Penta in WWE. Rey Mysterio is still here. Dragon Lee they brought in a couple of years ago. He's great, too. I'm not saying he's the next Rey Mysterio necessarily, but it's a different time compared to 20 years ago when you only had, like when you first started watching WWE and Rey Mysterio was your favorite wrestler, he was the only Hispanic, not the only Hispanic talent.
Well, it's like him and Eddie, pretty much.
Yeah, him and Eddie were like, they were the biggest ones.
You missed the Mexican star. You just listed off a couple. What about Dominic Mysterio?
Of course, they do have Dominic Mysterio. Can't forget about him. He's also a great talent. He might be the closest thing, ironically, to the next Rey Mysterio is Dominic Mysterio. I was going
to say, I think maybe that's one thing that's hurting Escobar is I feel like maybe they feel like they found their biggest Mexican star now, and then he's slotted.
There doesn't always have to be one, right?
That guy right now.
Yeah, no, Dominic is definitely that guy. I mean, he's got the charisma. He's over storyline-wise. They've done a lot with him, but I would have never guessed that 5 years ago when Dominic came into the company.
No, he was a plucky babyface as Rey Mysterio's dumb kid.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think has gone wrong in WWE in the last 10 years? Is it a reflection of the talent themselves or like the booking? Totally under Vince when they had Kalisto. I thought Kalisto was awesome. Now, he wasn't always great. Like, he did have a few botches and, the Lucha Things promo at the draft in 2016. He's kind of known for that whole shit from a decade ago. But a guy like him, Vince didn't really do him any favors by kind of pigeonholing him in the cruiserweight division. He was also United States champion for a little bit, but then he had the fucking Lucha House Party shit where they're punching piñatas. That's not going to do him any favors. What do you think has gone wrong in the last 10, 15 years in WWE to where they really have not found the next Rey, aside from maybe Dom now?
I think for me specifically, I think I think it's just the key thing. It's just their lack of English, I think, also just really hurts appeal and relatability, obviously. Like, obviously, Rey Mysterio, Hispanic descent, but could speak English. Eddie Guerrero, same thing. I think with these other people you're naming, like, it's hard to connect with these people when they're cutting promos. It's not really good English, mostly Spanish. You just don't relate to them as much as you would, like, you said, like Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero. Like, yeah, they were Hispanic, but they did speak great English that you could, like, relate to on that front, and they, like, had great in-ring charisma, moves, all that stuff, and just, like, I think that's kind of, I mean, Santos is different because I feel like he does have really good English. I think the thing that's probably holding him back the most, he is older.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I think he's in his early 40s. But yeah, I mean, I think with like Kalisto, a couple other guys that you named, I think it is like bad booking. It is another definitely didn't help, but I think Kalisto especially, like, they did push him in a few single. I think he had a U.S. title run.
Yeah,
I don't mistake it, but like, I just don't think he ever really connected from there. And then they just kind of, we're just going to stereotypical, like you said, the pinatas and the lucha and all that shit. But I think overall, it's just the lack of connection with the fans. So that's why, unfortunately, it really hasn't worked out. I mean, besides Ray, Eddie, I mean, you hate him, but Del Rio, like, I feel like Del Rio, besides Mysterio, it had to be him. I mean, he was pushed to the top. Some people hated him, some people liked him. He was, obviously, but I would say now it has to be Dom. I mean,
yeah.
there really isn't even anyone close to the worst part.
No, it's got to be Dom, I would say. He's definitely more of he reminds me more of Eddie, and I know that sounds sacrilegious to say because in the ring it's not even
it's his
close.
son.
It is. It's his actual son. He won the custody match. Actually, he lost the custody match, but
Like
it
you
was
said,
his son.
Dominic is definitely more Eddie than Ray, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny you say, like, Ray does speak great English even back then, but his promos, honestly, were not great. Like, Ray was not known for his promos.
Yeah, but he was, like, more superhero, like, for kids. Like, you see Rey Mysterio. At that time, there wasn't anyone else really wearing masks and luchadors. Like, so you saw Rey Mysterio, he was doing all these high-flying stuff back then, especially back then when that stuff wasn't even, like now you see that shit every fucking match. So it's like, okay, whatever. Back then, no one was doing that stuff. Yeah, the mask, he's jumping off cages, jumping up, like, his entrance was different. I feel like it was more relatable. Now everyone does that shit.
Yeah, no, I was going to say I should probably specify because I said WWE's looking, like, the conversation has always been WWE's looking for the next Rey Mysterio replacement. I think they just need another top Latino star, like Hispanic star, because you'll never have another Rey Mysterio. Like you said, you can't put the genie back in the bottle as far as, like, the stuff that he was doing back then, everyone does now. It's not as special anymore. And he also, like, the luchador style that he brought to WCW, for example, and then early on in WWE, like the shit with Kurt Angle and all the stuff that he was doing in the early 2000s, we see that stuff on an average Raw, like on fucking Main Event. Like, it's not that special anymore. Like, he broke the mold of what it was like to bring that luchador Hispanic style to WWE.
Well, yeah, because he was, like, breaking in when it was still, like, the big guys, or, like, the 5 moves of doom. Like, I feel like you said now everyone does that stuff, so it's not as special as it was.
For sure. And he was just super marketable too with the fucking mask stuff. So, like, Santos Escobar doesn't have a mask, nor do I think he needs to. But, you know, I think with a guy like Escobar, there is a role for him on the show, and I'll get back to him in a little bit. But you mentioned Del Rio. I feel like Del Rio was really the first one. That was when Rey Mysterio was really breaking down. I mean, his knees are shot now, but, like, they were really shot. You know, 15 years ago, before he started doing the stem cell therapy, they were really shot. He was injured all the fucking time. And they were like, fuck, we need a replacement for Ray in case he goes down for good. And he was gone from the company, too, for a few years, was Rey Mysterio.
Oh, so he was gone for a little bit, too, in there.
Yeah, he was gone, and they didn't really
Chavo was never the guy. I think they kind of hoped Chavo would be that next guy, but he just never was.
You know who they tried to push as the next Ray? Sin Cara. That whole experiment.
Yeah, that was just poorly. Yeah.
Which is actually funny in retrospect, because we were talking about him a little bit beforehand, before we got going here. Mystico is legitimately like one of the biggest stars in the world. Like, if you watch, I'm not as plugged into like the the Hispanic scene as far as like AAA. I mean, AAA is owned by WWE now, but like I don't really watch CMLL and stuff like that. But he is massive in CMLL. Anytime he's come to AEW, he's been huge. In MLW, he's huge. Like, he's a very big star. And that's the same guy that was under the mask, under the Sin Cara mask initially 14 years ago when his run largely sucked, but he got hurt a lot. I think there was like an attitude issue there. He didn't speak great English. He had really no promo ability at all. And they really thought that he would be that big breakout star. And he wasn't. And also what's ironic about that, like I talk about Triple H trying to find that big Hispanic star now, he was responsible for bringing in Mystico 14 years ago. I think him and Awesome Kong were like his two first big pet projects, and they fizzled out immediately. I think Vince, it was a long time before he trusted Triple H with really hiring anyone after that, because those two people did not work out at all. But yeah, like Del Rio was a success story early on, a multi-time WWE champion, could speak great English. And it wasn't like he was a real piece of shit back then, at least as far as we knew. And I think that was a booking issue. He didn't really connect long-term the way they thought he would as a babyface. They had to turn him right back to being a heel. But like I said, they had Kalisto. They've had Escobar. Andrade also should have been that guy. I feel like with some of those other people I just mentioned, with like Kalisto, Escobar, and Andrade, that to me was more of a booking issue. I mean, the mic skills were never really there. But like Andrade should have been a bigger star than he was when he was first there 5, 6, 7 years ago. Kalisto when he was there as well, at least in my opinion. Like nowadays in 2025, we said this about Andrade last week, that guy's not winning a world title in either WWE or AEW. Escobar isn't either. If this is WWE in fucking 2010, I can guarantee you Escobar would have gotten the Del Rio push. He would have been WWE champion because that fucking talent pool was so low. I mean, in 2010, look at everyone that left. Taker basically retired full-time. Shawn retired for good until 2018. Batista left. John Cena was still there. Jericho was kind of a part-timer after that. Edge retired a year later. All their top guys were gone. So they put the belt on who? Del Rio. They put the belt on... Don't remind me of that, but I was going to say Jack Swagger, which was awful. And I liked Swagger early on, but he was never the guy.
I feel like Swagger got like... I feel like a lot of those guys kind of got the short on the stick because I feel like you said, that all the big talent was leaving. So like... And the wrestling fans hate this. I know they do. They hate when you push people on you and they want you like these people. You just listed off like 7 Hall of Famers that were fucking Hall of Famers, not like people that just like good wrestlers. You just listed 7 Hall of Famers that left. They're gonna have to start pushing people. Like people at first hated Sheamus, like, oh, they're just pushing Sheamus. He's still here. Like, people at the time hated that shit, but like, what else are they supposed to do? Like, just go back to Cena and Orton for the 100th time?
Well, I think to be fair, I think it's the way they book these people. Sheamus, I didn't have as much of an issue with because Sheamus was and obviously is now extremely good. He only got better. Swagger was never exciting at all. Like Swagger. Oh!
I mean, I actually didn't mind Swagger, honestly. But
early on, I didn't mind Swagger, but then like, I don't know. It was because I think the issue with this is going to turn into a whole thing, but like the whole issue with Swagger back then was he was losing to fucking like Santino Marella on Superstars, and then the next week they had him win Money in the Bank. Like that's not going to work. It's the same issue they had with Jinder Mahal in 2017. Jinder was never really all that interesting, but I feel like his push would have been better had he not gone from losing to Mojo Rawley on SmackDown one week to then winning the WWE title. That shit never really works. Like, they did that with, they tried it with Barrett. They pushed Barrett very quickly, and he never got back to that level after the whole Nexus thing fizzled out, and that wasn't his fault. You mentioned Swagger, Del Rio. I mean, all of those guys, they put them in that position because all of those Hall of Famers, like you said, retired. And I feel like some of these guys now that we talk about, like missed opportunities, they almost came up in the wrong era because if they were around in 2010, Escobar would have been a world champion. Andrade would have been a fucking world champion, as they should have been. But there's just so much talent now. So, like, if Escobar actually did leave WWE, I was happy for him. Because, like, if the guy's not if he's not satisfied creatively, then maybe he'll go somewhere else where he's happy. But realistically, let's be honest with ourselves. You said it a few minutes ago. What would he have done in AEW? I don't even think you're wrong when you say he would have been added to the Don Callis family.
Or it could be in Los... whatever the fucking group is.
Oh, with Sammy Guevara?
What's it? Fucking...
La Faction and Gobernable?
Yeah, he'd be in that.
Yeah, no, I figured that might be where he ended up. And it would have been better, because I said that a few weeks ago on Twitter, I'm like, this guy's got to leave. I mean, if he's not on the fucking show, like, where is this guy? And someone said, well, is it much better than being on Collision, like doing, whatever? Collision duty isn't great either, but at least he's on television. Like, I'm not going to speak for the guy's financial situation. If he's content sitting in fucking catering in WWE making a shit ton of money, then awesome. But that doesn't last, though. They're not going to pay you to do nothing. And eventually, they will release you. And that's what I'm kind of worried about here, that they were happy to sign him to a big-time deal. But legitimately, yes, Noob, it is LFI, thank you. Do you think that them signing Escobar to this big money deal, or apparently Brian Alvarez was really playing up all the money that they paid this guy to stay, Do you think this honestly translates to any significant push for Santos Escobar, or is it just a way for him to stay, keep his mouth shut for now, and then they'll fire him in less than a year after he remains on, behind backstage and catering for the next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think I guess my thing is like if you have a plan from now, just because he was gonna leave, you have a plan from. I guess my thing is always, and I feel like this happens every time that someone resigns, like, oh, they're gonna get a better deal, they're gonna have better creative. It might be something in the next month or two, he might be on TV, but I just feel like he's just eventually just gonna get let go, and it's not gonna get better because my thing is, if they really cared about him, they would have been doing this months ago.
Exactly.
If he wasn't hurt. So just because he's going to leave, going to give him more money, and then also he's going to get this push, like, no. I just think at the end of the day, he's just not in their plans. Maybe they just signed him because maybe there's a thought there could be something they could do with him. But in the end, I just don't think it's really going to change anything.
I don't either. I don't really think it's going to change much. If they didn't really believe in him, and again, not recently, but like for the last year and a half, since WrestleMania 40, if they haven't really believed in him since that point, what's going to change? I mean, they clearly...
Exactly. I think that's my new thought, too. It's like, we've been burned by this. So, they brought him back. It's going to be like...
big push.
Guys, like, pretty much outside of, like, even when Andrade came back, I mean, I think we were pretty, like, he probably mid-card, and that's kind of where he was. Probably even a little bit lower mid-card. But, like, unless you become this big superstar and you come back, I just don't think they're going to see you at a higher level. Like, obviously, like, Drew and Cody, they left, and they kind of, like, built themselves up to main event level, and then they came back, and...
Yeah.
That's where they've been pretty much. But like anyone else, like especially these people that are re-signing, if they're not using you now, I don't know why they would, like, especially if they're not using you now, there's younger stars they're bringing up that can do the similar things that you do. I mean, I think like I'd rather see Javon Evans on SmackDown than Santos. Like that's just someone that's like similar moveset, similar, and he's a lot younger.
20 years younger.
Someone that I think that connects with the crowd a lot more. Like, see, like that's a perfect example. It's like he connects better with the crowd than Santos does. Santos hasn't been on TV in 6 months. Now all of a sudden supposed to care about him. The guys that he's teamed with are kind of like below mid-card job guys, and no one cares about them. It's just, it's like you said, maybe he's just happy to get, he is early 40s, so maybe he's getting one more good paying money run, and then maybe we'll go to CMLL or AAA. I'm not sure who he's affiliated with, but I just don't see it really turning into much.
Yeah, I mean, what is this big push that they're going to give him? I mean, he's on SmackDown currently. Is he going to beat Sami Zayn for the United States Championship? I mean, I wouldn't hate to see it. It'd be better than Solo Sikoa, but long-term is what I'm not really optimistic about. Like you said, I think long-term he's going to end up right back in the same spot that he was in before. If they just put him in AAA and put the fucking mega championship on him, I'm going to be honest, I really don't care about that. It's the same thing like with AEW owning Ring of Honor. What does winning the Ring of Honor championship at this point really mean? It means nothing. I mean, these companies are now owned by bigger companies, and they're just not overly exciting at all. I don't know. I just feel like it's one of those situations where they could do a much better job as far as pushing someone like him, spotlighting the talent that he is, finding the right role for him on the show. But like you said, if he wasn't on the show now, if he wasn't on the show for the last 6 months and he just comes back on Friday, let's say, or next week or something, and they put him in a prominent program, it's going to take some time to get him over in that spot, because he was getting over with the Rey Mysterio stuff when they had him turn on Rey. I thought that was great. And then they didn't really follow up on it properly. I also
but then like right after that, wasn't that like right? He turned on Rey, but then wasn't he in the whole LWO thing, or is that no? Yeah,
well,
that was
he turned on Rey and then he left LWO. Yeah. And then Rey wasn't on the show for months because Rey was hurt, so he wasn't really feuding with Rey initially. That kind of hurt his momentum. He wasn't really doing much. He was just kind of there for a few months. That didn't really help. But it's interesting because Dave Meltzer said the other day, he wasn't on the show because they knew he was leaving. So they didn't put him on the show because they knew he was on his way out. Kind of the Tony Khan mentality, which I think is stupid. I mean, I feel like if you have these people, use them even to put other people over, even if they're fucking losing every week. I mean, use them to put other people over. But that's just my opinion. If you're paying them, use them. But Meltzer said, he's not on the show because they thought he would leave. Okay, so then how could you explain a similar situation with Karrion Kross? Karrion Kross was on the show legitimately up until he fucking left. And, I mean, he wanted to stay, but it's not like Escobar didn't want to stay. Like, he didn't want to stay because he was creatively unhappy. But Karrion Kross was also creatively dissatisfied in WWE at the end there. I mean, he also wants to stay. They both
Moxley,
enjoyed.
they used Moxley through the end of his deal.
They did. I mean, obviously Moxley's
And
a
they
bigger
knew he
star.
was leaving. That's even different. They knew for a fact he was leaving.
He literally told them he was leaving, and he was on the show. I mean, he wasn't on WrestleMania, to be fair, but he was on Raw, and they utilized him to put other people over. And I know that was 2019, so you could say that's a different regime. But Karrion Kross, bro, was at SummerSlam. He got a PLE paycheck. I mean, he lost to Sami Zayn. He beat Sami Zayn on Raw in July. But they put him on SummerSlam, and he was gone a week later. And here's another thing. With Escobar, he left. He was gone. He may have had that phone call, Tony Khan, at 12:01 at midnight on Tuesday night saying, hey, what can I do on Dynamite tonight? I'm going to show up at Title Tuesday. What am I going to do? What's your grand plan? I'm a free agent. And Tony Khan said, I can put you in the Don Callis family. We can premiere you tonight in the group. He said, okay, I got to call Hunter back. I'll talk to you later. So, Fernando, what's going on, brother? I'll get to your chats in just a couple of seconds, just a couple minutes. So give me a few minutes, but I appreciate you joining us, brother, with the great questions there. But yeah, no, I did not think with Escobar that he would re-sign with WWE. My point is, how is this different though? Triple H was like, or WWE, whoever was negotiating with Santos, they're like, all right, we'll let you leave. Like, we're going to offer you more money. Santos is like, can you give me some creative assurances that you're going to actually do something with me? And they said, we can't do that. And then that was it. But on Wednesday, they're like, you know what, actually, we'll give you more money and seemingly creative assurances. I would assume not. I would not trust this company at all. But seemingly that's what they gave him, because otherwise, why would he resign? Why with Karrion Kross? And I don't think Karrion Kross is lying when he says they called him within days of his contract expiring after SummerSlam. They knew his contract was expiring all year. It was the talk of the internet for like 6 fucking months. They didn't contact him until days before. They lowballed him with an offer. He said, how did you arrive at that number? Because I've been selling a lot of merchandise, way more merchandise than fucking Santos, who I like, but the truth is the truth. Karrion Kross was more over and selling more merch. They said, well, we don't have an answer for you. He goes, well, I can't accept this offer. And that was it. Unless there's been more conversation since then, that was it. And then Karrion Kross, they didn't re-sign him, and that was it. But they went back to Santos with a better offer. Like, why do you think... I saw Brian Alvarez say that it wasn't really like, they think Escobar is a bigger star than Karrion Kross. Do you think it might be just a perception thing? Because I was going to talk to you today about how like all these people are leaving, albeit for different reasons. But do you think they just did this to save face, to be like, all right, we're not going to let everyone go. We will keep some people?
I mean, I think it's all depending on what you want to utilize them as too. Like maybe they want to use Santos more with like AAA. So maybe that's another thing. Like you said, like maybe his creative insurance is like maybe he's the one to beat Dom for the belt.
Yeah.
He's the AAA champion. Like maybe they said, you know what? We're going to let him go. We kind of need more star power for AAA, so might as well just keep him.
Yeah.
And he can kind of go over there, be the guy in AAA. He'll be in WWE a little bit, but we're mostly focusing on AAA.
Yep.
And that's kind of I feel like that's the only reason why you'd bring him back at that point. So I don't see him really doing much on Raw and SmackDown. But maybe they want to utilize him more in AAA.
Yeah, maybe. And then with Karrion Kross,
like maybe his thought is, if I'm not going to AEW, I'm going to go CMLL. I'd rather probably just be in WWE still, working in AAA, making good money. Might as well stay.
Yeah,
because I think he's late. I think it's the last, like, because they're kind of like the Mexican stars are really loyal to whoever they wrestle with. I think he was in AAA last. Yeah,
he was.
So from 13 to 2019, he was in AAA before he went to Lucha Impact and WWE. So I feel like they usually do have a decent like loyalty to where they were. So maybe he wanted to stay in AAA, and they already own WWE. WWE already owns them, so might as well just stay at that point.
Yeah, no, and again, we'll see what his future holds. I could see him probably being largely utilized in AAA, which is fine. I would say I want to see him on a bigger platform than that, because at that point, just go to CMLL. But I mean, I don't know. On SmackDown, there's only so many spots. We talk about this a lot. I mean, there's only so much talent. I mean, if you push Santos, then who's not getting on the show? I mean, I wouldn't push Solo Sikoa as heavily personally, but I mean, there's other people on the show. Then you have to take off Javon Evans, who's a fresher, newer, more over star, or Sammy, who has a lot more value than Santos. I mean, there's only so much television time. It's the same issue that AEW suffers from. There's actually almost too much talent to go around on these major shows. I hope it is a case of like they had a plan in mind for Santos, and that's why they brought him back with Karrion. They just didn't have a plan. I am grateful, though, to a certain respect. It does suck the whole Karrion Kross situation happened the way that it did. But with Karrion, though, it's not like they're like, all right, we'll give you all this money and we'll keep you around, but then he's still not on the show and he's in the same spot that he was in 6 months ago. That would be even worse. At least he's free and he can go off and do MLW and all this other shit. I mean, I guess it's all about a matter of perspective. He's probably happier now doing other stuff. He was probably unhappy with the way things went down, but if they re-signed him for $1 million and he wasn't doing shit, nothing's stopping them from firing him in 6 months, you know? I mean, maybe he'll end up back with the company.
Yeah, but like you said, financially, even if he was, I mean, like you said, I guess it's kind of like glass half empty, glass half full. It's like, okay, you can go do this. Maybe he'll enjoy it more, but he's probably making significantly less money than, even if you re-sign with WWE, maybe he's not guaranteed all that money, but yeah. I'm still assuming he'd be making more money than even if he was just on the indies.
True. I think it's all a matter of how long. Here's the thing. If you re-sign with WWE, and let's say you're not on the show, but they pay you a lot of money, it's really just a waiting game at that point, thinking, okay, they're not going to utilize me, but I'm here for a lot of money. How much longer can I get away with making this money before they cut me? And how much money can I save before they fire me? Like, literally, I think that might be what it comes down to.
Yeah.
If you leave WWE, your stock is higher, though. I would say that his stock is probably higher, making appearances in MLW and stuff like that. If you stay in WWE, you're making a lot of money, but your stock is at an all-time low. Like Escobar's stock is at an all-time low because he has not been on the show since fucking May. But at least Karrion Kross might not be making the money, but he's boosting his stock. So it kind of goes hand in hand, you know?
No, I agree.
You know, and hopefully your stock improves enough to a point to where you can go back to WWE and make enough money and be paid a lot of money. But then as your stock go down if you're not on television, it kind of has to balance out. But again, there's just a lot of talent. But hey, Xavier Woods resigned, so it's not like they're letting go of everyone. He's sticking around for a long time. I mean, I like Xavier Woods. I'm not even being sarcastic about that. I'm just saying. But interesting situation. We'll see what happens with Escobar if he's not on the show for the next month. I can't say I'm shocked, but hopefully that this re-signing of a new deal, happy to see him stick around. I'm a big Escobar fan. It's just a matter of what they do with him next. I'm not even going to ask you what you would do with him because I don't even know what I would do with Escobar. It might be just a AAA thing, like you said. It might be just being utilized in AAA. On SmackDown, I don't know what more they do with them that they haven't already done. Maybe they try him out in the U.S. Championship level, but they've done that before, and he's lost a whole bunch of fucking matches for that belt. So I don't really see why this would be much different. But Fernando had a couple questions here. He's talking about Grade Showdown on Tuesday. We talked about NXT Showdown earlier. I'd probably give it, from what you saw, I'm curious what you would give it, but I would probably give it a B. I thought it was a good show on Tuesday from NXT.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a B. I mean, I thought, like you said, I think the whole process, the TNA versus NXT, when it was mostly NXT versus NXT,
yeah,
at the end of the day, but I thought it was good. Like you said, I thought all the matches were pretty decent. Like I said, the women's got a little sloppy, but I did point this out. I honestly liked how the Team TNA, the women all had like similar matching colored gear.
Yeah, you did point that out.
Very small thing, but they all had like some kind of purpley, bluey gear. I thought that looked great. Hopefully they did coordinate that and they just didn't just all show up with the same colored gear randomly. But I mean, I think it just made them look more like a unit as a team, which they were. But overall, yeah, I thought it was good. I don't know where we go from here. I mean, TNA technically won the night. They won the main thing. So I'm assuming we maybe will go a little bit further. But I think overall, I think the crossover has helped. I think it's helped both companies. I think it's also helped probably WWE a little bit more. You're getting some of the younger talent booked on more shows. Kalani Jordan's champion. I think she could use more booking. So now she's in TNA and vice versa. So I think WWE's probably getting the most out of it, but TNA is also getting good mainstream attention just because they're affiliated now with them.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting advertised on Raw and SmackDown, dude. I mean, they were advertising Showdown on Raw and SmackDown this past week. I never thought I would see the TNA logo itself on these shows. I mean, we saw it in the Rumble this year with Joe Hendry and at WrestleMania. I mean, granted, he lost in a matter of minutes, but it's better than nothing. It's more exposure than TNA's ever gotten in their entire lives since they were on Spike over, 10 years ago. So, I agree. I think it's been mutually beneficial. I've enjoyed the matches and the partnership, and I'm looking forward to the matches they put together for Bound for Glory this weekend, like we talked about earlier when we previewed that pay-per-view. Jinder did indeed suck Fernando. I agree with that. He was not world championship material, but it was one of those things where they were struggling. They're like, oh, fuck, we have no stars on SmackDown. We got to put the belt on someone new. Let's go with Jinder Mahal. What'd you say?
Shinsuke was right there.
I know. Shinsuke was white hot. Let's put the belt on Jinder Mahal instead. Okay, that makes zero sense, but whatever. And then he was never back at that level again. Like Jack Swagger, he won the title, lost it, never again utilized in that spot. An absolute waste.
Shinsuke's main roster run has to be like a video. It needs to be like a 30-minute breakdown of just malpractice.
Yeah, booking malpractice. From his hot debut on SmackDown in 2017 and his amazing debut in NXT to where he is now, to the point where I have zero desire to see him on the show, I mean, it needs to be studied. When his contract comes due, he needs to leave. But I mean, it's not even a case where people are like, oh, we can go to New Japan and really reunite his or resurrect his career. Bro, he's like fucking 46 or something. Like, it's Shinsuke Nakamura. Like, he's not going to reinvent the wheel at this point. AJ Styles has more of a chance of going somewhere else and having more success and really having some great work. Shinsuke does not give a fuck. If he gave a fuck, he would have left years ago. He doesn't care.
Yeah, I agree. I
don't even know what value he brings at this point because he's not even on the show. Like, it's not like, oh, they can help him boost like the Japanese market. Like, he's not even on the show. So, I mean, I guess they use him for their house shows over there, but that's really about it. Fernando asked earlier, what is RJ's NFL game of the weekend?
I mean, honestly, I think last week I hit it pretty good. Bucks, Seattle, I think it was like 38-35, came down to the wire. That was actually a really good – I want to pat myself on the back. That was actually a really good game. Game of the week, that's a good – I was just looking at today because I am in a Survivor pool. I'm still in. So I was looking at – I think there's a lot of just kind of crappy games, but let me just take a quick look at the schedule.
Just to tell you guys this guy's schedule.
There's a lot of bad games.
You're not missing much then.
I'll say Detroit. I mean, I guess you got to go either Detroit and Kansas City or San Francisco, Tampa Bay, I guess, right?
Tampa Bay? That sounds like a good game.
Yeah, there you go. San Francisco and Tampa Bay or Detroit and Kansas City. Detroit, Kansas City is the night game on Sunday, so that's pretty good.
Chiefs and
the other games are kind of lopsided games. It doesn't really seem like.
Weren't the Lions?
Seattle, Jacksonville could be sneaky good, but the other ones don't really look overly appetizing.
Lions, right? Detroit
Lions, yeah.
Weren't they good last season?
They were good last year. They're good this year too.
Yeah, so them against the Chiefs should be a good matchup.
Since we went to SummerSlam, they've been pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that should be a good game. Them and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are obviously, they've had a lot of success in recent years. That's a good game right there. To give you guys some behind the scenes here, I mean, Mr. Marceau may not have a lot of time to watch some of these games. He's going to a wedding literally as soon as we're done here. He's leaving like immediately, so we won't spend too much time here. But he's leaving soon for a wedding. The wedding's tomorrow no, it's tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
He's leaving today for the wedding. The wedding is tomorrow. He's back on Saturday, and he's still going to Bound for Glory on Sunday. I didn't even ask him because as soon as I was talking about what we were doing today recording-wise, and he goes, I'm going to a wedding. I'm like, okay, then he probably can't go on Sunday. It was a last-minute thing. He goes, no, I'll be back on Saturday. I'm like, I still don't think I would not blame you if you don't want to go. I mean, that's a long fucking weekend. But then he goes, no, I'm going. I'm like, this is crazy. I shouldn't be surprised.
Lowell's just my soft spot. I gotta go.
If I said to literally anywhere else, it'd probably be a no. But hey, Lowell, you throw Lowell, and it's tough to pass that up. So yeah, we will be Bound for Glory this week, and we'll talk about it. All right, give our on-site report next week here on WrestleRant Radio. Our first ever TNA on-site report. I've been to TNA shows before. Like I said, I've never been to a TNA show with Mr. Marceau. He has never been to a TNA show. So it'll be a first time for us on Sunday night. We're looking forward to that. Fernando asked, worst fumbled talent by WWE in the last few years. Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura, we just talked about.
You say the last couple years? I feel like Shinsuke has kind of like gone past that. He was like 10, like
he was about 8 years ago.
He like won the Rumble and went the main. That was 34, I think.
Yeah,
that was like 5-6 years ago. Last couple years.
He had some success. I feel like he could have been bigger, not world champion, but bigger, and he could have stayed. Ricochet. Ricochet is an incredible talent. I feel like they could have booked him better. He was booked better under Triple H, but still.
If you want to take like someone that I feel like had promise, and then they just, this was just, I think this is easily the worst. He didn't really have a bad run, so I can't say he was fumbled, but Swerve getting released, he would definitely be a big star in WWE right now, and that was just the Vince McMahon fuck up. Yeah. But realistically, I would probably say him. He was booked good in WWE, but then they just got rid of him. I'll say Swerve.
That's a great one. I think Swerve's a great answer. I would say Keith Lee too, but I feel like with Keith Lee,
is he alive?
Yes, he is alive.
Is he still collecting a check from Tony?
Yes, I think he is still collecting a check from Tony. I would say Keith Lee, but don't you think if he stayed, even if they didn't fire him, he would probably have had the same health issues? I don't think that would have changed. So,
yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. If it's like I
think he said he's good now. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I missed the Bearcat though.
Bearcat was fucking awful. I was also going to say, this is going back to like the Vince era, but EC3 was another one. I feel like he could have been a lot bigger. EC3 absolutely could have been a bigger star. They could have
He's
been like
controlling
upper
his
mid card.
narrative. He's fine.
Controlling your narrative. Yeah, he completely fell off the face of the earth.
Who else? Yeah, I mean, honestly, you know what? Here's a fumble talent that's still there. I'm not calling her by her dumb name. Kaylee Ray fumbled out of their mind. She would literally have the great NXT UK match with Rhea Ripley, Toni Storm.
Long title run, too.
Up. You're like, okay, and they change her name, and she's done nothing since.
No. I'm glad she's on the show and they didn't fire her, but she should really have been a bigger star than she is.
I mean, she's still young, but I don't know at this point if they're ever. I mean, there were points that she like was winning a couple matches. You're like, okay, maybe they're finally going to start like pushing her. I mean, she's only 32 years old, so she's still fairly young. But like, I don't know, maybe eventually when she gets out of the stupid secret service, if they don't release her outright, she can kind of go on her own and kind of go babyface and then eventually turn heel. But I think that's probably someone that we know has the talent, and they just kind of like. Maybe they think other people just more talented there, but like I said, she was pushed heavily in NXT UK. Like, I'm just surprised that they just I've never like she was on NXT I think at one point too, before they changed her, and she was doing pretty well. And then like right when they changed her, right when Vince came back for 2.0, I'm pretty sure, and she was Alba Fire, and it's kind of been downhill since. But I think that's someone they really need to put on a bulletin board for 2026 to really at least give her an honest try.
Yeah.
At least try, and if it doesn't work out, fine. But they really haven't done that, and the whole Alba Fire thing never really connected either.
As Kaylee Ray specifically, they have to give her a shot.
Exactly. Lose the Alba Fire shit, right to Kaylee Ray, give her a fair shot. I think like she would be someone perfect to have like good match with like Becky and other people. Like feel like, oh, there's no one else. Like she's someone that like has the potential they just haven't wasted.
I would just worry that she might go the Blair Davenport route. I mean, remember her? They brought her up and she didn't really do much at all, and then they fired her. So I would.
Yeah, but I feel with Kaylee Ray right now, she's at least she's associated with someone that's really over with Chelsea Green. So the eventual split, I feel like she could get big. I think she's better than Davenport anyways, just in general. Agree. But I mean, I get what you're saying. Like she could fizzle out, but. At least they give someone an honest try, I think she could find her footing.
I hope it goes more the route of what you're saying, where she benefits from being with Chelsea because she's on the show every week and she can turn on her and benefit from betraying her, as opposed to it's almost like the damage has been done because she's been labeled a loser for so long that it's impossible for anyone to care about her. I'm not going to go that far because at least she's on the show. Like I feel like what she's doing now is far better than her not being on. Like there's people that aren't even on the fucking show, or like an Alba Dawn. What was her name? Isla Dawn. I didn't think she was all that good at all, but
no, she wasn't. But no, like I said, I think if they like eventually you're gonna have to split them up, obviously. So maybe it's like you do something in the Rumble, like she throws Chelsea out, like they think they're a team, throws out there, and then eventually Chelsea turns on her. Then you can just kind of go from there. But I want an honest try.
I agree with that. Someone they did give an honest try to, and I'm not even saying she fizzled out. She has had some success. Noob mentioned Piper Niven. He said that was a fumble. I disagree with that. Piper Niven, I would have said that 4 or 5 years ago when she was fucking Dewdrop, but they've since called her Piper Niven again. She's gotten title opportunities. She's had some good matches. She's on the show a lot with Chelsea Green. I mean, I feel like her ceiling is she's not better than Rhea Ripley, Io. Who else? Bianca Belair. She's not better than any of those other women. Kaylee Ray I would put in the same conversation as those women in the ring. Becky Lynch. Piper Niven's not better than any of those women. She's very good, but they have so much great women, so much great talent in the women's division. She was only ever going to get beyond a certain level.
I think another thing with Kaylee, I'm just calling her Kaylee Ray, so I think one thing will hurt her is that like Lyra's basically what she pretty much was before.
Yeah.
So like that's another thing that doesn't help, that she like Lyra basically took her spot.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, no, Lyra's getting the push that she was probably could have gotten if Lyra didn't get that push, and now we're seeing big things for Roxanne, or I'm sorry, well, we already saw that report. Big things for Lyra Valkyria on the horizon, which I actually hope is true compared to the reports about Finn Balor and Roxanne. Oh, you see them as big stars, big pushes. They haven't done shit.
Roxanne won on Raw. Clean.
She did win on Raw. That is correct. She did win on Raw.
She beat Lyra clean.
That is true. She did beat her clean. Give me 1 second here. The voice went to robot voice. So I think to fix this, I think I unplugged my mic, and I think we should be good. So give me 1 second here. Can you say something for me?
Hello.
It fixed the robot voice.
There
I think
you go.
the robot voice is indeed fixed. I think for now, if it goes back, my mic might be messed up, my quality might be messed up. I'm not sure. But for now, I think it should be fine. And today would have been Eddie Guerrero's 57th birthday, Fernando says. Talking about Eddie Guerrero from earlier, he would have been 57. That's crazy. He probably would still be making part-time appearances. If Sting could wrestle till he was 65, with Eddie Guerrero, anything's possible. Let's see. He said earlier, should AEW sign Lacey Lane long-term? I mean, that's the former Kaden Carter. She was on Dynamite this week.
Oh, JC Jane 2.0? Yeah, I saw that.
She was good. They had a good match. She is probably not even top 15 workers in the company, even for the women. So what would she do? She would probably end up in Ring of Honor, so probably not. Good question here from Fernando. What are your thoughts on a tournament deciding Cena's last challenger? Did you see that report this week from Meltzer? I think that's a great idea. That's actually what they do.
I didn't see that, but it's a decent idea.
So you hold the tournament, and the winner of that faces Cena for his last match, and the rumored final opponent for Cena is who we kind of expected, Gunther.
Yeah.
So I like that idea a lot, actually, and they would have to kick it off soon, but I like that idea a lot. What was I going to say to you before the mic thing happened? We were talking about Roxanne. We were talking
about Kaylee Ray.
Oh, biggest fumble talent. Yes, we were talking about fumble talent. One last name I'll throw at you. Same category as Swerve Strickland. I don't think you'll agree with this, considering what she's doing now. Toni Storm. Not that, I mean, she wouldn't
So here's my thing. I don't think she was fumbled because she was doing a title match and then she lost to Charlotte and then she got all mad and left.
Well, not because she lost though. I mean, that's not fair to say. She didn't quit because she lost. I mean, she was behind the scenes. It was probably a disaster.
I just don't think fumbled's the right word because she was being pushed. I think if she stayed, she would be not the same level, but Ripley level. She had the character. I feel like it was there, and she got called up and maybe wasn't winning a lot of matches, but I don't know. I feel like she just didn't she did quit. I mean, she did quit.
She did quit.
Yep. She didn't.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, like you said, I guess you could say fumble, but I also feel like she was starting to kind of get a push and then she left right after, or at least put on TV. She lost to Charlotte, but that was also when was that? 2021? I mean,
yeah. I would say fumbled, but I will level with you and say that we don't have a big enough sample size to say because she wasn't on the main roster for that long. But that being said, though, when she was on the main roster, they debuted her. They kept her off the show for a few months after that for some fucking reason. And then when she came back...
She debuted in July and she was gone by December.
That is true. So she wasn't even on the show the entire time. She debuted and then they took her off the show for 3 months. I don't know why. And then they brought her back. She did get
Liv.
Yes, she did. Did she beat Liv or teamed with Liv?
No, she teamed with Liv over Carmella and Zelina.
Okay.
She lost to Zelina. She was in Survivor Series. Do not remember that.
Yeah, and we were there.
She beat Charlotte by DQ. Her and Sasha beat Flair and Shotzi. Lost to Charlotte, and then she left.
Yeah. To be fair, though, what those wins and losses don't reflect. She did get a title shot. But you're forgetting that they also did that terrible, one of the worst SmackDown segments I've seen in recent years. The stupid pie to the face thing. Do you remember that?
I vaguely remember. I think it was cake, but yeah.
Yeah, it was cake or pie or something really fucking dumb where they just tried to embarrass the woman. It was just awful. Now, could she have withstood that? You mentioned...
that was also when Vince was back at that point, too, I believe.
Well, yeah, that was before Vince left. Yeah, that was the final 6 months of Vince. That was when SmackDown was just absolutely awful to sit through most weeks. But... with the Rhea Ripley was also around at that point, but they weren't booking Rhea like they were booking Tony. Tony, they booked like shit compared to Rhea.
You were still crying about Rhea losing to Charlotte at WrestleMania or whatever the fuck it was.
That is true, but they didn't put cake in her face. They didn't put pie in her face.
Smirk on his face.
It's true. I was still crying about it until she finally beat her in at WrestleMania 39 in 2023. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll never know. I feel like Tony, she says she'll never go back. I find that hard to believe. She's only 30-something years old. Swerve, too. I mean, they say, they're AEW for life, and they very well might be, and I wouldn't blame them if they were, but everyone says that until they actually end up in the other place. So, and that goes with WWE people, too. But anyway, we'll close out with this, Mr. Marceau, before I let you go. Crown Jewel predictions for this coming Saturday. We got 5 matches on the card. I don't think they had a 6th one. I think that's garbage. I won't spend too much time on this, but I hate that they do the 5-match cards. I like the less is more approach, but when you have a match, in my opinion, like Damian Priest versus Aleister Black in Last Man Standing, and you put it on fucking SmackDown instead of on the pay-per-view, I think that's dumb booking. I like the card they put together. I think this is a great card, but you can afford to go to a 6-match card. It won't kill you, I promise you. It will not kill you to make it a 6-match card, but you got to spend an hour on fucking commercials and promotion for other shit and the entrances. Whatever. They got to do a better job of that. But that being said, just announced on Raw this past week, Mr. Marceau, an Australian street fight. Now, the announcement of this was just hilarious because Paul Heyman was like, Bronson Reed's going to face you again, but it's in a stipulation that Bronson Reed is undefeated in. It was the stipulation that he was known for in Australia and why he got to WWE in the first place. And I'm thinking, oh, fuck, like, what is this, Last Man Standing? Not Iron Man, but like something like really intimidating. What is this going to be? First Blood? Oh my God. And he goes, an Australian street fight. I swear you could hear the air conditioning in the building. I'm like everyone else there. I'm like, who gives a shit? Okay. We see street fights every fucking week. Who cares? But they are doing Roman and Bronson. I like this. Bronson's from Australia. He was not in Elimination Chamber last year. That pissed me off at the time. He could have been on that show. I'm still crying about it. But they're finishing the story. He's on this time. I still don't think he wins. I mean, people are like, oh, why would they run it back if he's not going to win? Bro, he's not going to fucking win. It's Roman Reigns. They're not going to they should have had Bronson Reed win last month at Clash in Paris or the month before. They didn't. He's not winning, but I think it'll be a fun match. I really think he should win. He would benefit a lot. But I think Roman Reigns wins, LOL. What do you think?
You think he's going to win again?
I do, honestly. You got Bronson?
I feel like I'm leaning Bronson. I feel like you can have Bronson win. Okay, here's my thing. I'd rather Bronson win, which he should have probably done in Paris, and then they do, instead of doing like the whole like, this is what's going to happen. He's going to lose like he did at Clash, and they're going to beat Roman up after, and they're going to be like, oh, like he got his heat back. Dumb. Just have Bronson win.
I agree.
Even if Braun Breaker helps him, he should win, and then it can set up for War Games in November. But if Bronson loses here, he might as well just have a fucking tattoo L on his forehead because he's a loser.
I don't think that does them any favors if the idea, which I think it is, to do a War Games match next month, and if they're doing this whole Bloodline thing and they're getting them back together. I think, honestly, what we got on Monday with Jay was actually very intriguing. I didn't mention that earlier, but the whole, like, I don't think turning Jay heel is the right idea. I would just make it more aggressive. We talked about that last week. But you still need to make the Vision more of a threat. Now, they do win a lot, but if they don't win on pay-per-view when it matters most, I mean, they did win against the Usos last month, and Reed just beat Randy Orton on SmackDown, dude. He fucking pinned him in a tag team match. That's huge. How do you follow that up by having him lose to Roman Reigns, who does not need the win? That would just be stupid. And like you said, to have Roman win, but then he gets attacked afterward, it's a waste. It's ass backwards booking. Don't do that. Have Bronson Reed win, but I'm still going with Roman Reigns because I just know how they do these things. So I'm going with Roman Reigns here. Your final pick is Bronson Reed?
Bronson Reed.
Okay. I appreciate the boldness. Someone's got to be bold. It won't be me,
Someone's
but I appreciate it. Someone's got to do it. Tiffany Stratton, Stephanie Vecchier, Women's Crown Jewel Championship. No story here at all, but I think the match will be good. The story is that Tiffany actually has not won all year. Or I'm sorry, that's stupid. Tiffany has not lost all year. She's been undefeated all year. I think that ends here, though. I think Stephanie Vecchier goes over. What do you think?
Yeah, I had in my notes here. I have Cody. I'm just going to give you a spoiler. I have Cody winning the men's. So it goes one by one.
Okay.
So Cody's on SmackDown. Raw needs a little win over here.
Makes sense.
So unfortunately, Stephanie's good. I have Stephanie. I want Tiffany to win. Like I said, can keep the undefeated streak going. I guess this match really doesn't mean much.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't really hurt Tiffany because she hasn't really lost. Kind of shoot Stephanie up a little bit more. Like I said, got Cody winning for the men, so it's SmackDown. Stephanie wins here for the women for Raw.
All right. I got Seth Rollins winning. I did have Cody Rhodes winning.
Oh, okay.
I'm switching
for
it up.
Clean sweep.
Yeah. I think so. I have Stephanie winning and Seth because Seth, I was going to go Cody, but they're really playing up that Seth has never beaten Cody. I think you can pay off that story down the road. I wouldn't do it now, but I think they will because they're really playing up like Seth needs to beat him. He's desperate. And then Heyman's going to have someone interfere to help him win, but Seth doesn't want that. And then it's going to set up some tension for War Games, whatever. And I think it could be Brock. Seriously, I think Brock might get involved per Heyman to help Rollins beat Cody, and Rollins will have no idea. That's what I think might happen. But if Cody
then
wins
Tiffany
in front of
wins then. They
What'd you
both
say?
can't win. Both people in Raw can't win.
Oh, I think that's going to happen, yes.
I just don't think so.
I don't think they should. I agree.
I'm changing my answer then, Tiffany.
So you're going Team SmackDown. I'm going Team Raw.
Yep.
It's bragging rights here on WrestleRant Radio. Last two matches here. John Cena and AJ Styles. Now, again, no story. They're just running it back for the sake of it. Does Cena win? LOL. Is this his 100th PLE win in WWE?
Yes.
I think so, too. If AJ Styles can't even beat Dominic for the IC title, why the fuck would he beat John Cena? If he can barely beat the Judgment Day, he's not beating John Cena. But I got John Cena winning. Hopefully should be a good match. Last match here, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus the Kabuki Warriors. Who goes over? This is actually unpredictable. And per Millennial New, who asked about this the other day, do we get a betrayal in this match, Mr. Marceau, from these two teams?
See, people keep saying the betrayal. If Io went heel, I might fucking jump out my window. It makes no fucking sense. No, we don't. Io and Rio win.
Okay. Rhea and Io go over clean?
Yes.
Big hometown win for Rhea Ripley.
Clean? Yes, they win clean. Why wouldn't they win clean?
Maybe Io cheats to win, and because she's going to join back up with the Kabuki Warriors or something like that, and she needs to show her heel tendencies.
That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. I don't know.
I will say, when they did have Kyrie show her the picture, I'm like, oh, okay, like maybe. But then Kyrie beat her up this weekend, so then I'm like, that doesn't really make sense. Because she beat her up after the match. Like,
I'd say go for the heel heat and have Io turn on Rhea in Australia, in Rhea's home country, and really go for it that way. And then have Kabuki Warriors win. I think you could have Kabuki Warriors win here, and it's totally okay to keep the feud alive.
I mean, I just don't think Io should turn heel. I mean, I
agree with that.
Whoever wins, Io shouldn't be turning heel. I think that's dumb.
Okay.
She's so over as a babyface. Why would you then turn her heel? That's so dumb.
At the peak of her popularity, that would be very dumb. I agree with that. So I agree with Noob. He said, I believe that Kairi Sane is eating the pin. I'm going to say the same thing. I'm going to go Rhea Ripley wins for her team. Pinning Kairi Sane.
Okay.
Book it. Which match do you have go on last? I saw reports of Roman and Reed main eventing. I feel like that would make no sense.
No. I thought she opened the show.
I agree with that. I would go Cody
Rhea
Rollins.
and Io should main event.
Really? You want Rio? Not Riho, but Rio.
I think Rio, Asuka, and Kyrie should main event.
Wow. Okay.
Especially, I mean, one, because Ripley's the biggest star from Australia, so she should be in the main event. She drew the house. And if you're going to do the Io turn, then it'd be imagine the heat at the end of the show. People stay for that moment.
But you just said if they do the turn.
I think they should main event.
You said if they do the turn, but we don't want a turn though.
We don't want the turn, but even if they don't, I still feel like Rhea winning at the end. I think they should main event.
I'll check up on you if Rhea does win for her team, pushes Io out of the way, Io gets upset, and then turns on Rhea Ripley to close the show. I'll check up on you afterwards. Especially after that UFC fight. That UFC fight did go your way on Saturday, though.
It did. Like I said, if Io turned heel, I would lose all my faith in Triple H. Make no sense.
If that hasn't happened already for a couple of different reasons, but
I would think Vince Russo's back booking. Like, oh, we need a swerve for the case of a swerve, so we're going to have Io fucking turn heel. That would be so dumb.
No, that would be stupid. I mean, this is the same company that somehow bungled John Cena's heel run, so I wouldn't be entirely shocked, but we'll find out on Saturday. It does make the show more unpredictable. We'll talk all about it here on WrestleRant Radio next Thursday, along with our on-site report from You're Not Hearing Things here, TNA Bound for Glory. We're going to be there. The boys will be at Bound for Glory. We're bound for Lowell, Mass on Sunday night, so check back up on us here on WrestleRant Radio next Sunday. Until then, new episodes every single Thursday, WrestleRant.com, WrestleRantRadio.com, all major podcast platforms. Channel members, Alexis, Miss Mon Matthews, Dylan Giacomo, Mrs. Renee, DJ Swerve 1, Daniel Malcolm, RJ Marceau himself, John Ritland, Richie, and Average Grunt. Appreciate all the support. $5 a month for WrestleRant All Access Pass. Channel membership down below in the description box. Like, comment, share, subscribe. All the support is greatly appreciated. And if you're joining us live here on the show, be sure to tune back in right next week. And thank you for tuning in live as always. For Mr. Marceau, I'm Graham GSM Matthews. Have an awesome one, folks. We'll catch your ass down the road. Peace.
Join Graham GSM Matthews and RJ Marceau every Thursday as they run down their weekly wrestling rants, offer expert analysis, host exclusive interviews, and more. Subscribe today on all your favorite podcast platforms and never miss an episode of WrestleRant Radio.